Hey guys! Okay, I'm going to show you some video of your puppy in work so that you can kind of see what we've been doing the whole time that she's been here. It's 27 degrees out today and she got her shots this morning, so this is kind of a good video to demonstrate things may not always go perfectly, and but you just kind of keep working on it. Okay, here's bye. It's your baby. Huh, Casey? Casey is an awesome sit. We use what I call a marker system for training her, which means we use two different things. I start off by using a clicker, and there's a couple different clickers. I'm going to send one home with you. So this is one clicker. This is a really loud clicker. They make quiet clickers that I like to use those in the house. You don't always have to use clickers, but you can interchange a click for the word yes, and she's very responsive to that, and it works sort of. Let me get her away from a sit here. Sit. Yes. And the idea is that you want to click her immediately as soon as she has accomplished what you've asked her to. The treat can actually be delayed because the treat is the reward, and the clicker or the yes will actually mark the behavior. Casey, come here. Casey, sit. Yes. Good. So one of the things that we have been working on with her is eye contact. So right now she's staring straight in my eyes. I'm holding the camera right by my eyes. And I can actually hold a treat all the way out here to the side. And what I expect her to do when I say, Casey, is to look right in my eyes. And she's looking at the treat. She's known she's trying really hard, and this is a really good exercise. And I do this with all my dogs, even as adults. Yes. Good girl. Casey. Yes. And I just wait her out. So she sort of looked at the treat there for a little bit, and then she'll turn and look at my eyes. And as soon as she holds that eye contact, then I'll actually reward her or tell her yes or click her. If she seems like she's struggling with the behavior, then I like to go back to the clicker because that really helps to solidify it much quicker than the marker word yes does. Good girl. So we're going to do a stay. Casey, sit, stay. I have too many things in my hands here. Stay, sit, stay. Good. She's watching me. We're going to back up. So right now she has a little correction, and her correction is sit. Good. Stay. And we count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5. Okay, good girl. That's good girl. Yay. Good girl. Casey loves pets almost as much as treats, which is really cool. She also is starting to reward with toys, which is going to be awesome for dogs because instead of giving her treats after you tell her okay or yes, you toss the toy for her, and that's the reward, and she totally digs that. All right, clicker and cookies in the same hand. Just a few cookies so that you're not fumbling with them, okay? And what you're gonna do is, Casey, down. Yes, good girl. Super easy. Good girl, you're a champion. Good girl. So I'm telling her good girl because good girl means you're doing perfect, and I want you to just keep doing it. Good girl. Now when I go to release her, I'm going to be careful not to move. I'm going to say the word okay, and then I'm going to toss her cookie for her to release. Because if I tell her okay before I really want her to release, or before I start tossing the cookie, you're actually setting yourself up for a future of breaking before you give her the okay to break. So at this point in the game, we're saying okay, then tossing the cookie. Ready? Down. Yes. So now I'm not using the clicker, but I'm just using our marker word. Yes. Good girl. Yes. And Casey doesn't need as many treats as I'm giving her right now. I'm giving her more treats than I would have before I left, but it's been about a week, so I'm having to go back to giving her a few more treats to reward to keep her laying down where I want her to be. Good girl. Now I'm gonna tell you, okay! And then goes the cookie. Whoop! That's a good girl. Yay! Okay, so before we go for a walk, I'm gonna actually use the fact that she has her leash in her mouth right now to work on our drop it. So when she's carrying your kitchen towels, your socks, your shoes, her toys, and anything else around, drop it is an awfully handy thing. She really likes to play tug, so in order to accommodate so that we can play tug with her, we had to teach her a drop it. And I won't actually tell her drop while she's already have it out of her mouth. Drop it should only be used when it's actually in her mouth. So I'm gonna kind of rile her up here with her leash a little bit. Drop. Yes. Good girl. Yeah. Drop. Yeah. Good girl. And again, looking up at me for, oh, okay, I dropped it. Now what should I do next, Mom? Yes. Notice how I did not reward her or say yes when she was actually jumping up on me. I completely ignored her and wait till she put her butt and her feet on the ground before she got her cookie. Good girl, Potty. Okay, so loose leash walking. At this point, we are doing a little bit of heel, but mostly loose leash, non-pulling walking. See, here, good girl. I like to use what I call it's a tree method. Because if she starts to pull, I absolutely don't move. I completely plant my feet, and we don't move until the leash is loose again. It does take a little bit of patience, but it'll pay off in the end. And later on, I'm all for pinch collars, and the same thing will basically work with a little pop with the pinch collar. Instead of standing still, yes, you stand still, but pop with the collar first. And then as soon as they return to a loose leash, then you walk again. All right, Missy, should we go for a walk? Come on, Casey. Come on, Casey, let's go for a walk. She has a nice little walk. Oh, yes, I let the leash dangle. Casey, good time to use drop. Good girl. We go for a walk. She's a nice little loose leash walk. Good girl. So that's her word is let's walk. Kind of get her to redirect. So she's moved around the other side and she's standing here looking for stuff from me. Yep, I'm not gonna move. Feet are firmly planted on the ground. Casey, let's walk. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, so we're gonna just do a quick recall. I use 2 different ways to recall Casey. Maybe a couple more than that, I guess, but she knows them all. You can either use a whistle, and a whistle to recall her is quick successions. Good girl, yes, good girl, good. Just like that, yay. The other way that I will use to recall her is just a whistle. And she knows that just as well as she knows to come to the whistle, but that's kind of handy to have when you don't have a whistle on. Along with the whistle, I'll use the word here. And I was going to show you, but as I said that, little Missy was right at my feet. Ah, good girl. Come here. So I'm going to bring her over here. This is great because she's sniffing. Here, Casey. Good girl. And a perfect set. Good girl. Good girl. Yes. Nice. Okay. Okay, a little bit about Casey being in her kennel. Casey actually loves her kennel. As I'm talking and standing here, she's running in and out of her kennel. She's also hoping that I'm going to give her a cookie for being in her kennel, because that's how I train them to go in their kennel, is by feeding them their meals. So if you're having a hard time when you get home with her being in her crate, or it's a new crate, so she's squawking a lot, you can go back to feeding her meals in her crate. I feed them in her crate with the door shut, and then at first I let them out fairly quickly, and I just gradually extend that time. If she is screaming in her crate, she is just pitching a fit, and nothing that a squirt gun or a little squirt bottle with a firm, quiet to help that. She shouldn't be screaming in her crate, but she will sometimes if she's really opposing, like if I'm working with her sister or playing fetch in the hallway and she can hear me. Sometimes she will protest a little bit. So Casey, I will point to her kennel and say, "Kennel." Right in she goes, and she will stand in her kennel and she will wait. Good girl. And okay. Yes, good girl. So she shouldn't come out of her kennel when you open the door at first. So I'm going to open the door. She's looking for a lost treat. You being silly? Okay. Good girl. Casey!